Warm greetings to everybody here. Students, we are back here with one of your favorite topics you were waiting for. I know, you were waiting for me to make a video on topic separation of mixtures, and here I am with you all with the same topic, separation of mixtures. In our daily life, we often carry out certain activities such as straining our tea leaves from tea, washing rice and pulses before cooking to remove any dirt in them, and many other activities like this. In all these activities, what do we do? That is a big question. We actually separate mixture into their components. And this process of separating the components of a mixture is called separation of mixtures. Separation of mixtures is sometimes necessary to remove the unwanted or harmful components to get a pure substance. Now, when we study more about the separation, we need to know what kind of mixtures do we have in our daily lives. Mixtures can be solid solid, solid liquid, liquid liquid, gas solid, gas plus solid plus liquid, or gas plus solids. So we have varieties of mixtures in our daily life. Here in this video, and according to the level of class 6, we will deal with the mixtures that can be of form solid solid, solid liquid, or liquid liquid. All the components of a mixture have some unique property. So, to separate the mixtures or the components of mixture, we will have to study the property of all the components in the mixtures. For example, to separate a mixture of common salt and sand, we need to know the property of both common salt and sand, be it particle size, be it particle nature. Particle size refers to the size of the particles of salt and the size of the particles of the sand, whereas particle nature refers to the other properties such as whether it is metal, it is non-metal, it is black colored, it is white colored, it is yellow colored, like that. So I believe this part is clear to everybody that for separating the mixtures, we need to know about their properties. Moving forward, now here first of all we will study the method of separating solids from solids. We will study the method of sieving, we will study the method of magnetic separation and the method of sublimation. Let us first start with the method of sieving. Sieving. This method is used to separate two or more solids from a mixture when they are of different sizes. That means we have to pay attention to the property of particle size. In this method, a sieve or a mesh made up of wire with a tightly fitted frame is used. Here, the mesh has some holes that is used to separate the components of the mixture. Solids larger than the holes of the sieve remain in it, and those which are smaller than the holes can pass through it. Sieves with fine holes are used for separating barn from the floor in the homes. Sieves with larger holes are used to separate sand and stones at construction sites. In this picture, you all can see one lady is separating the barn from the floor at the home to make some food article. In the other picture, you can notice that some person is separating some heavy stone particles from the sand with the help of sieve. Also, this can be used in the garden area to separate the heavier stone particles from the earth. You can also see a picture which is telling that sieve can be available in different sizes depending on the size of the hole, which will allow the larger particles to remain on the top and the smaller particles to go down and to be get collected. With this, we will move forward to the next method, which is called magnetic separation. If any of the components of the mixture has the magnetic property, that means it can be attracted to a magnet, then we use the property of magnetic separation. In this method, the magnet is passed over the mixture. The magnetic substances get attracted and cling to the magnet, while non-magnetic substances are left behind. Now let us see the activity that we have taken here. In this activity, we have taken some sulfur and some iron fillings. We have mixed the two in the bowl. Now, we will study the properties of iron and sulfur both. Iron is a black colored metal which has magnetic property, but sulfur is a yellow colored non-metal which do not have magnetic property. So this method is applicable here. Why? Because any one of the components should have the magnetic property which is now has been taken by iron. You must be wondering, like, both are different in colors, so you can separate them like that also, but that will become a tedious task. That will become a very difficult task. So when we can do the same thing in a very easy manner, so why to go for the tedious one, right? So we will use the method of magnetic separation. We will use a magnet and we will pass the magnet over the mixture. All the iron fillings will get attracted to the magnet and sulfur powder will be left in the bowl. This is how we are going to separate a mixture of sulfur and iron. In our daily life, we have seen the use of magnets by some rag pickers. Rag pickers sometimes use magnets to pick up pieces of iron from the roadside or garbage dumps. In factories, huge magnets, electromagnets, are fitted in cranes that are used to separate scrap iron from the waste material. Now let us study the third part, that is sublimation. The process in which a solid directly changes to vapor or the gaseous state on heating without converting into liquid state in between is called sublimation. On cooling, the opposite happens, that is, the gas turns back to solid. That is, opposite process is known as deposition. Opposite of sublimation is deposition. Right? The solid that is used in sublimation process is called sublimate. Sublimation is used to separate a mixture of solids where one solid sublimes and other does not. Let us study few examples of sublimable solids. These are ammonium chloride, iodine, camphor, naphthalene. Here you can see an activity. In this activity, they have taken ammonium chloride and common salt mixture in a china dish, right? So in this combination, common salt and ammonium chloride is a sublimable substance. So on heating, ammonium chloride will sublime and convert itself into vapors, and we will be left with salt. So in this activity, we have taken a china dish which has a mixture of ammonium chloride and salt. Down to that is a wire gauge, then a stand, then the Bunsen burner which will heat the entire mixture. Top of that we have placed a funnel. On the mouth of funnel there is a cotton plug. The cotton plug keeps a check that the vapors of ammonium chloride do not goes outside. On heating the mixture of ammonium chloride and salt, all the ammonium chloride will convert into vapors and go near the mouth of the funnel, near to the cotton plug. But because the cotton plug is there, so it will not be able to escape outside. So opposite of that will happen. The vapors will solidify themselves and all the solid ammonium chloride, by the process of deposition, it will collect on the mouth of the funnel, and all the salt will be there in the china dish. So this is how we can separate the components of a mixture wherein one of the substance has the property of sublimation. Moving on, children, now let us study more about the soluble and insoluble solids. Solids such as sugar, salt that gets easily mixed in any liquid are soluble solids. And the solids such as sand, chalk powder that do not mixes in any liquid and forms a separate layer in the liquid. These are called insoluble solids. Let us move forward to do certain processes to separate the insoluble solids from liquids. Dear students, now we shall study all the processes in which the solid will not dissolve in a given liquid, that is insoluble solids. Now we will be separating from the liquids. The very first process is the process of sedimentation. In this process, the insoluble solid that is heavier than liquid, it will form a mixture, and we will allow this mixture to stand for some time so that the insoluble heavy solids settle down at the bottom of the liquid and forms a clear layer at the top. The process of settling down of heavy solids at the bottom is called sedimentation, and the solid that settles down is called sediment. The clear liquid layer can therefore be poured carefully into another container without disturbing the sediments. Here children, you can see the process of sedimentation where we have taken two beakers. The first beaker contains water with some insoluble impurities, right? And the same water in the same beaker is allowed to stand for some time, let us say 1 hour or 2 hours. After letting it stand, all the insoluble heavier particles got settled down and the clear layer of water is available on the top. This process of sedimentation is always followed by the process of decantation, wherein the clear layer of the liquid is being transferred carefully into another container. Right? You have to use another container to transfer carefully the clear liquid. And this process of transferring the clear liquid into another container without disturbing the sediments that have been settled down is called decantation. Let me give you some few examples to understand it more nicely. At homes, our mothers soak the rice and pulses in water for some time. They let it stand so that the water can form a clear layer on the top, and afterwards they transfer the water into another beaker and they cook the pulses or the rice. This is done by the process of decantation. So children, the same you can use during the process of tea brewing. Let us move forward to the next part, that is known as loading process, or it is also called coagulation. Why this is used? That is a big question. At times, a mixture contains extremely small insoluble particles that take long time to settle. They can be made to settle faster by using the process which is called loading or coagulation. In this process, the fine insoluble solid particles in the mixture, which are made heavier by adding the external chemical agent, which is also called coagulating agent. So these coagulating agents bind the dirt particles or the insoluble particles, soluble heavier particles down at the base of the liquid, and the clear liquid is obtained on the top. It is a process which tries to fasten the sedimentation process within a few time limit. For example, if the sedimentation is going to take 5 hours, so you can use an external coagulating agent so that the process will speed up itself and it can be done in lesser time. The 4-hour process can be completed in 1 hour. Alum. Alum is a coagulating agent which clarifies the water very fast. At times, the water contains insoluble dirt which is not seen by naked eyes. So in that case, we all can use alum to clarify the water. The alum is a primary coagulant which is used generally in the water treatment plants. It was used in earlier times also, and it was known as aluminium sulfate at that time. Today it is popularly known as alum. So children, this was all about loading. Let us move to the next process, which is called filtration. Filtration is a process of separating insoluble solids by passing the mixture through a filter. A filter is a device which consists of small holes. It allows the liquid to pass through the holes but retains the insoluble solids which are bigger than the holes of the filter. The most common example of filter that we use at our homes are strainers, tea strainers, through which you strain your tea so that the tea goes down into your cup and the tea leaves settle on the top of the strainer. In laboratories, a filter paper is used in the process of filtration. For one filter process, you use only one filter paper. A filter paper is a special type of paper with very fine holes in it. It is folded to form a cone and is placed in the conical shaped funnel. The liquid passes through the holes, but the solids are retained on the top of the filter paper. The solid left on the top of filter paper is known as residue, while the liquid which passes through the filter paper down into the vessel is called the filtrate. So this was all about filter paper, children. Moving on to the next part, again I would like to teach you about the soluble solids that we have done past in this video. So these are the solids which get easily mixed in any liquid. For example, sugar, salt that readily gets mixed in the liquid, right? And when the solid completely combines in a liquid, it forms a mixture, and this mixture is known as solution. To separate a soluble solid from its solution, we use the process of evaporation, or evaporation method is used. Now let us study what is evaporation. Evaporation is the process of converting a liquid into vapor either by exposing it to sun or by heating it. You can heat it anyhow. Sun is the ultimate source of heat and light, so you can place the thing under sun, or you can heat it by using the Bunsen burner. So let us understand it with the help of a simple activity. We have mixed salt into water, right? The water will become salty. Salty water, we call it salt solution. It has become a solution, we call it salt solution. We are heating the salt solution using the Bunsen burner by giving a flame, and what we will notice, the water will slowly and gradually evaporate, right? The water will evaporate slowly and gradually. When the water will evaporate, what will be left behind? You will be left with all the salt content in the solution. All the salt content of the solution will be collected in the bottom of the beaker, while the water will evaporate into the environment. So this is a process wherein you can collect the salt from the solution. I hope this video was informational for you all. I hope you liked the video. Please children, if you like the video, please keep on watching the videos in the series. Thank you.